876 Dream. Bless up.
So we began the campaign in Alcor where history was made as for the first time in World Cup history, a host nation lost their opening game in a World Cup for the first time. Today, new journeys begin, new memories will be created, and returning teams emerge. The Dragons, their first World Cup appearance in 64 years. Uncle Sam's Army, their first appearance since Brazil 2014. The Three Lions is today the start of It's Coming Home. And of course, the Flying Dutchman, always the bridesmaid, never the bride hashtag. Is that something that will live with them for another World Cup once more? This is Now Streaming Qatar. So, 32 teams from 5 confederations, 64 matches and 1 cup over the next 28 days of the greatest show on earth. Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everyone tuning in on 876 Stream JA's YouTube channel. I'm Simon Preston. Thank you so much for joining us. If you want to get involved, you can as well in the comments as well. Don't forget as well to subscribe to 876 Stream JA right here on YouTube and also on Instagram 876 Stream and on Twitter Stream 876. So get involved in the comments, let us know your thoughts about the tournament, teams that have games today as well. 3 matches we have on store for today, and we'll be getting down to the nitty-gritty about what lies ahead. The pre-game show, thank you so much for joining us. And just a reminder, the post-game show for today will be at 4 o'clock. And of course, in that discussion, we will look at and review the 3 matches that took place today. But to get into the previews, let me introduce you to the esteemed panel that we have for this morning. To my far right, we have Operations Manager of the PFJL right here on the island, Mashal Turner, and has also worked as a statistician for the Reggae Boys in recent times as well. And in the middle is Joel Lee, football analyst. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning to you both. How are you both doing?
Good morning.
Good morning, Simon. Thanks for having us.
It's an absolute pleasure to have you both here. Joel, let me start with you. Yesterday, the first day of the tournament. Your thoughts, your impressions, are you in that World Cup buzz and excitement as yet?
Buzz, yes. The starting is always kicking it off like really well. It's a little bit different this year, obviously, the World Cup being in December time for us, Christmas. Some people, other places maybe are summer, but it's a little bit different. You know, we're used to it in June to July. It's a little bit different.
Marshall, same for you?
Yeah, I really wasn't feeling it until a week ago. And then I started, club football ended, and then I started getting it. I was like, yeah, all right, I'm ready now. So yeah, I'm ready for the next 28 days. Looking forward to watching football for 8 hours a day.
All right, sounds good. Well, on your screen, quite shortly, you'll see the schedule that we have for today. As you know, right now, it's the pre-game show. These are the 3 big matches for the day. 2 matches from Group B and 1 from Group A. But to kick things off at 8 o'clock, it's England, 1966 winners, against Iran. At 11 a.m., it is Senegal, quarterfinalists back in 2002. And Senegal will take on the Netherlands as 3-time World Cup finalists. That's at 11 a.m. And of course, at 2 o'clock, the United States, 1930 World Cup semi-finalists against Wales in their 2nd World Cup appearance, their first since 1958, all the way back in Sweden. Before we get into the 3 matches today, ladies and gentlemen, just want to go back a little bit to yesterday. Marshall, I'll start with you on this one. Qatar, the host nation, we saw them at Copa America, Gold Cups, and being Asian champions. Disappointed from what you saw from the hosts?
Yeah, I think they were nervous, especially in the first half. What they displayed last year at international tournaments that they were invited to, such as the Gold Cup, it wasn't the same fluidity, it wasn't the same structure. They just seemed all over the place, especially in the first half. So they'll be disappointed. But Ecuador, on the other hand, was excellent. They were up for it. I think they liked their chances of advancing through the group. So it was a good showing from them.
Joel, as you know, there's been so much spotlight on the Qatar as a whole, as it relates to human rights, preparation, everything. Did this perhaps take a toll on the players, or perhaps, Ecuador on the day, the better unit?
Well, it's always on the day and per match. Ecuador showed up and played. Qatar, the nerves, you could see nerves, especially with the keeper, their back line. I mean, they came up with some very good chances, always at the end of a half. Some very good chances. And had they put them away, we would have, even the first half, we would have seen a completely different game.
All right. So, as we said, 3 big matches today. England will open their campaign against Iran. The United States at 2 o'clock playing off against Wales. And at 11 a.m., sandwiched in between those games, the Netherlands against Senegal. We will be getting a little deeply into the England versus Iran game quite shortly. But before we go into that, we're going to talk about our CONCACAF team, the United States versus Wales. And we have a clip to share with you guys from Chris Coombs. He is the presenter, an avid fan from US Fan TV, a platform that is catered towards American fans, and they've traveled all across the country for their Gold Cup campaigns, CONCACAF Nations League victories as well. And what we're going to do is he's going to talk about the chances that they have in their group and the expectations in the United States as a whole.
Yes, I think there's a chance for the U.S. Like the promising thing, of course, is, excuse me, this is the most skilled, I think, player group or player pool that the U.S. has really ever had. And
so he gave his expectations there as it relates to the group, spoke a little bit about it. Unfortunately, we apologize for the no audio there, but Chris was basically mentioning a round of 16 appearance would be acceptable from an American perspective. Marshall, would you say that round of 16, it would be acceptable for the Americans, bearing in mind the talent?
I think they should be excited about that, frankly. They're an exciting young team. None of them have ever been here before. They have a lot of players in Europe, but currently the form of many of those players is not good. Their backline is shaky. Their best defender is a 35-year-old at the moment, the most informed defender. Their goalkeeper does not play at his current club. Midfielders, Weston McKennie has been having a decent season, but he's had better seasons at Juventus. He's the real driving force there. Forward line, they don't have a number 9 or a reliable number 9. Pulisic is in and out at Chelsea. Aronson, who I think is the best player on the team, is doing well at Leeds, but Reina, he unbalances teams. He's been in and out injured. He's just got back from injury, so who knows what type of form he'll have. So it's just question marks all over for them.
Yeah, before we get the thoughts and reactions from Joel, let's play back that clip and hopefully the audio matter is resolved right now.
Yes, I think there's a chance for the U.S. Like the promising thing, of course, is, excuse me, this is the most skilled, I think, player group or player pool that the U.S. has really ever had, and certainly the most successful at club level. The other, well, I guess, so yes, like simple answer, yes, I thought there was a chance. The U.S. didn't look great in qualifying. I mean, we definitely showed what I would say were reasons to doubt us. The team has had trouble, a lot of the players anyway, have had trouble staying healthy. So that's another concern. Now, I guess the promise here is that they seem to all be healthy. So like the good news is the stars that we wanted to make this World Cup have made it. They seem to be healthy and ready to play. So the thought is, sure, they can do it. The part to kind of temper that, I guess, is even they've only, I think, had like one game where like everybody was healthy and like in qualifying, and it wasn't a particularly good game. So it will be, can Berhalter get the best out of them? Can they truly turn in a good performance? So I think, yes, the possibility is there. I don't think it's going to be easy by any means. I mean,
so there we have it, Chris Coombs from US Fan TV giving his thoughts about the United States heading into this World Cup, their first appearance since 2014. Joel, it feels like a changing of the guard. No more Landon Donovan, Clint Dempsey, Eddie Johnson, DeMarcus Beasley. It feels like this young, hungry, youthful unit right now.
Yes. if I remember clearly, they're the youngest qualifying team in terms of overall average age. I think this is going to be a very interesting game, USA versus Wales. Yes, coming out of the group would be great for them. I think having missed the last World Cup, they're going to try and really come out and show, but that can also create a lot of errors. Similarly for Wales as well. Haven't been there since 1958. They have something to prove as well. So that will be a very interesting game.
Indeed. And Michelle, a little bit about the Welsh as well. The Ramses are still around, the Joe Allens, and perhaps Bale's last appearance. He had said that this could be his last appearance, although he could extend his deal in the MLS. Could this be the last hurrah for Bale? And in terms of the depth of the squad, because if one man is injured, it looks like a different unit.
Yeah, if Bale gets hurt, if Ramsey gets hurt, it's over for them. Bale just coming off an MLS title, he'll have something to prove. It's Wales golf, then Madrid for him, or it was. So I'm sure it's Wales golf, LAFC for him. So he'll be up for this. He always performs for the national team. But they're just not very deep, have holes all over the place. So we'll see.
Yeah, definitely we'll see. And Joel spoke earlier about the Welsh team as well. They have a lot to go. And just a reminder to those viewers as well, do drop in your comments as well right here. We're live on YouTube, as you guys are seeing right now. You do give us your feedback, your comments as well, and we'll definitely read it out to you and basically see what you guys are saying. Are there any England fans out there? Let us hear your thoughts. Know there any Dutch fans out there, any Americans out there as well? Let us know. Drop us in the comments. Don't forget to hit that like button as well as we transition into the first game of the day, England versus Iran. And we have the starting 11, and I'll read it, and then we'll get the reactions from the panel as it relates to that 11 in particular. Basically, England have gone with the 11 that they trained with since they arrived in Qatar. They've gone with that 4-3-3. So Jordan Pickford, he keeps his place, isn't it? This is his second World Cup appearance, Jordan Pickford. And it's a back four for England, not the back three that they have traditionally used, perhaps in qualifiers and also the European Championships as well. Kieran Trippier at right back. At left back, it's Luke Shaw, his first World Cup appearance since 2014. Harry Maguire and John Stones in central defence. In midfield, Declan Rice and Jude Bellingham. So that tandem between Calvin Phillips and Declan Rice, not there from the Euros, as he's still recovering from that knock. Mason Mount in front of those two individuals. And a front three of Bukayo Saka, Raheem Sterling, and Harry Kane. And today a bit of history is made as Raheem Sterling becomes the first Jamaican-born player to play at 3 World Cup tournaments. John Barnes had the previous record of being at 2, 1986 and 1990. Now Raheem Sterling, the first Jamaican-born footballer to be at 3 World Cups. 2014 in Brazil, 2018 in Russia, and now 2022 here in Qatar. So, Joel, let me get your reactions about the 11. No Marcus Rashford in the 11. Is there any other changes perhaps that eye-opener for you in terms of that 11?
Not really. With Rashford out now, it's the substitutions that will probably really make it, because looking at the lineup, they have obviously a defensive lineup, or more defensive. Harry Maguire, I'm not really too sure about him right now and his form, but they do have the depth to can change out, especially in forwards, and make some changes there. I do know they're playing against Iran, so Iran, who has never gone out of group stages but plays very defensively. I think they're trying to combat it, and then hopefully if you tire them out, you can put on a Rashford with the Kane and make a counter-attack.
Yeah, Michelle, we were talking earlier as well about the defensive aspect, and on the screen just a moment ago, you got to see Jordan Pickford. We're talking about the other options, Nick Pope, Ramsdale. Perhaps you would go in another direction?
Yes, I would certainly go in another direction. I'm not a big Pickford fan. We all see the memes with the dinosaur arms. I just think he has a lot to work on. Ramsdale for me is in better form, playing for the top team in England, and it seems more composed to me all the time. So that's the direction I would have gone in, but I'm not a coach.
And just to give a bit of feedback in the comments as well, a lot of fans saying, go England. Alex Taylor says, England won't win anything with Southgate. The team needs Thomas Tuchel if they want to think about lifting silverware. Interesting. GM Network says, Harry Kane to open his account with 2+ goals. Johnny Richards says Sterling and Stefan Hausen, who you all saw on the panel yesterday. Thanks for tuning in. Stefan saying, typically sensible 11 from Southgate. Sterling needs to rediscover the form he displayed at the Euros. And Andrew Johnson tuning in saying, I'm an England fan and quite like Spain. England is always good on paper but fail to impress. Hoping this year we can change that. We did well in the last years. Hopefully the coach has learned his lesson. So on your screen right there, you will see the 11, as we made mention: Pickford, Trippier, Stones, Maguire, Shaw, Rice. We also have Bellingham, Mason Mount, Raheem Sterling, Harry Kane, and Bukayo Saka. Now, on the Iranian side of things, they've gone to go with that 4-1-4-1 system. Azmoun, their main number 9, he is not part of their starting 11. They've opted to slightly go in a different direction, and that is why they've gone with Mehdi Taremi in that number 9 position. And a lot of people will remember Ali Reza Jahanbashk, that guy from Brighton and Hove Albion. That is a key component to the Iranian outfit. 13 goals in 64 appearances for his country. He plays for Feyenoord right now. Of course, I said former Brighton player. And another player to really keep a close eye on is Karimi. Karimi is known for his energy throughout the course of the midfield. This Iranian team, well, they conceded the least number of goals at the last World Cup. They only conceded 2 goals at the last World Cup, and they also conceded 2 as well. And one of 2 teams at the last World Cup that got 4 points in the group stages, but did not advance to the round of 16. Senegal was the other team. So let's bring up a few tidbits of these 2 teams before we get into the Iranian standpoint of things and a little bit deeper on England. So we're going to show, like we did yesterday with Qatar and the Ecuadorian team, tidbits on both teams. Let's start with the Iranian team first before we get into the England team. This is Iran's team, the nickname Team Meli, or the Persian Kings. Their 6th World Cup appearance, as Joel made mention earlier. They've never passed the group stages of a World Cup. Conceded only 2 goals at the last World Cup, as mentioned earlier. Coached by Carlos Queiroz, who, as we know, had some work with Manchester United. And they've only won 2 games in World Cup history, both coming 20 years apart. Their victory in 2018 against Morocco, 1-0 victory, courtesy of an own goal. And back in 1998 in France against the United States. Against UEFA teams at the World Cup Iran, well, 5 losses and 2 draws. Let's head over to England's side of things and have a little bit of tidbit about them. 1 World Cup title all the way back in '66. This is their 16th World Cup appearance. Their fourth place finish back in 2018 in Russia. As we know, a penalty shootout away from being crowned European champions. And interesting to note, England outside of the continent of Europe have not passed the quarterfinals of a World Cup. So we'll see how they get on in the Asian continent. The last time the World Cup was in Asia, in Japan and South Korea in 2002, it was the quarterfinals where they eliminated by the Brazilian outfit. Michelle, let me go back with you on this one, on the Iranian side of things. Carlos Queiroz, let's talk a little bit about him as well, what you know about him and, what he has done for this Iranian team in the past couple of years.
Well, his second stint with the team, they've progressed. His first stint, they progressed well. This is their third straight qualification, and each of the last 2 times, they've gotten better. You spoke about their performances last World Cup, so I would expect them to want to go to the next step. The team's gonna be very, very defensive and very compact. And it's going to be suffer ball. So they're just hoping they can keep you out and get the odd one. Mehdi Taremi is having a good season. He has, I think, 11 goals and 7 assists so far for Porto this season. So, they'll be depending on him to bag something and keep it solid at the back.
Yeah, and Joel, England, they're coming against a team that's, defensively extremely solid, and they've had challenges with, breaking down that sort of low back. Is that a concern for England, or they should have enough quality to get over the line?
As one of your commenters said, they always sound good on paper. They should have the quality. Should be the operative word. So with the Iranians playing so defensively, and if you look at how England plays, they don't normally even cross the ball that much. So they're going to be on the wings where you have Sterling, but my fear is you're not going to cross the ball. So Harry Kane is really he's probably going to get lost in the mix. And then based on how England has set up, they're also trying to go defensively. So it's going to be a very interesting state of a match. Trippier on the team, though, it's a very interesting one because how do they have a set piece? And there is a possibility there. Like you had said, I think both of them are almost setting up, based on histories, to defend and hope to get one in and see where they go from there. Iranian more than England.
Yeah, from the Iranian side of things, they're unbeaten in their last 3 games and they've only conceded 1 goal. They haven't lost a game since June, which was against Algeria. And, Carlos Queiroz, the reputation that Machel made mention about, had some time with Portugal and actually won the Under-20 World Cup twice with Portugal back in 1989 and 1991. So carrying a lot of pedigree as a coach, as we made mention, worked in England as well under Sir Alex Ferguson to set that defensive solidity, which of course led to United winning the double, the Champions League and the Premier League 07 and 2008. And of course the work that he has done for other countries as well. He's worked with South Africa and other countries within the Far East as well. So Carlos Queiroz certainly coming in with a lot of reputation. Machel, back on England's side of things, when you look at the 26 that has been called, is there anyone in your eyes that you said, perhaps they've overlooked someone that should have been there that is not there? And many talk about Ivan Toney, for an example.
I don't think it's surprising in terms of Tony or Tomori. I don't think it's surprising based on what we know about Southgate. He picks who he knows and who he trusts. And you can see that in this 11. Mount, particularly for me, going against Iran, I would want somebody like a Foden who has a little more magic in his feet and can do something, one moment. Not that Mount doesn't have that, but I think Foden has that a little bit more. You want that in a game like this, but as I said, he sticks to who he knows. So really, no surprises for me in his overall selection.
Joel, for you, the same or slightly different?
Going back off of the Euro 2020 squad, obviously, we don't have the same complement. There is a little bit of difference. The injuries that have plagued the team, that's one of the things. So it's not, as he said, it's not surprising. He really sticks to what he knows. We're going to have to see how they play together as a team at this point. It's not really surprising.
Not even Jadon Sancho for you to bring it into the 26.
His form is just not really up there, and I think that's a big thing. But they have a lot of quality to choose from, so you're now going to have to choose based on coming into this game, even the nations, and they're coming off of not winning a game. So you're now going to choose people who are more in form than out of form if you're going to choose a 26.
Yeah, and you made mention earlier about, England perhaps not being able to utilise those wings, but at the last World Cup, set pieces were so critical. So again, this might be an advantage for them.
One of the things having him in the starting lineup or even in the squad is just his ability with set pieces. You'll get the cross in, Harry Kane is there, Raheem Sterling is there, you have a better chance.
Yeah, this is a team with decent size, so you should be taking advantage. John Stones, Harry Maguire, Bellingham is a decently sized lad, Declan Rice, Kane of course. So yeah, if you can get good deliveries in, Trippier, you have Trent Alexander-Arnold in the squad. I don't think he'll play if they stick to a back four, but you have two persons in the squad who can put in quality deliveries. So set pieces should be a big thing for them.
All right, so from the England squad and the team as a whole at the last World Cup, of the 12 goals they scored, 9 came from set pieces, which is basically 75% of the goals that they scored, whether it was a corner kick, a free kick, or a penalty that was taken by Harry Kane on their journey to finish 4th in the last World Cup. So certainly it's something that has been worked on for Gareth Southgate and his unit in particular. So let's have a look at some of the comments and seeing what everyone has been saying, getting some reaction there. Horatio Williams says, expected 11 from England, but would have liked to have seen Foden from the start as well. A lot of people saying that, definitely. Stephen 2 Football Rules says, Fikayo Tomori. No, Fikayo Tomori is criminal. A lot of views about Tomori as well, and in terms of not being in the squad. Many people wonder about the comments that Gareth Southgate made at the press conference, that he hasn't reached the standard of a Harry Kane just yet, which is why Harry Kane is getting the nod in the squad over Tomori. But he is on the standby list, so we'll see whatever changes might happen. It's unpredictable in a World Cup, so we'll see if Tomoya will eventually get to Qatar or if he'll have to wait for Euro 2024, in particular if England is to qualify. And just a little bit on England's record against Asian teams at the World Cup itself. They've only faced one Asian team at the World Cup, and that was Kuwait back in 1982, and they were able to get a victory there. But, you know, Marshall, it also mirrors what happened in 2018 as well. England took on Tunisia, a similar type team, similar build to the Iranian team, and they had to grind out a victory as well. I feel it's something that England might have to do today?
Yeah, definitely. Definitely today is going to be, I think today is going to be the toughest team for them to break down in the group. So today is going to be a hard 3 points if they want the 3 points.
Yeah, indeed. And GM Network says Tammy Abraham should have been in the squad. So interesting. People saying about Tammy Abraham also in the mix as well. A lot of attackers. You know, people want Tammy Abraham, Ivan Toney. A lot of persons having their say where that is concerned. But you spoke about the squad, Joel, as well, in terms of the balance that England have brought. You know, at the end of the day, you can bring so much attackers, but you also have other positions to prioritize.
So I actually looked this up last night, and I compared the Euro squad to the squad we have now, and I think they had 9 defenders, 6 or 7 midfielders, and nearly 8 or 9 forwards. And now it's a little bit different, where I think it's about 5 forwards, 8 midfielders, and 9 in the back. And I think based on their particular group stage, not even just this game, but moving forward, based on the style of play of everyone, it's really, this entire group is going to be a counter-attack goal. A counter-attack is pretty much how you're going to win. All of them play defensive. USA likes to pass the ball around a lot and eventually get up there. They want to draw you out to get you up there. Mm-hmm. Wales has something to prove, but they're also very defensive, and they set up for a counter-attack with Bale and Ramsey.
They do.
And, well, we have Iran who is completely defensive. They're getting better with every World Cup, so it's going to be a very interesting group. And all of them have a similar defense to counter-attack type in mind.
Yeah, well said, well said. Is Reece James a big loss for the English? I mean, you look at the right back, the Trent Alexander-Arnolds of this world, and Kieran Trippier, Kyle Walker should be back. Are they still going to miss that potency, panache that we would normally see from James at Chelsea?
You'll always miss it. But when you have certain players that are not in the squad, you'll always miss it because they give something, but then at the same time, I always like to say that a team or a squad is not based on a player. So you'll miss something, but you should have the depth to kind of have it back. So for instance, Pulisic, as we mentioned in USA, like he's not a true 9, but should they not have him? At some point, you need to have somebody coming up to fill a gap. It may not be the same style, so you're always going to miss those players. Mm-hmm. But the team should be able to kind of work around it, and that's what we're hoping for. It's a sad miss, though. Mm-hmm.
Marshall, do you agree, or at right back England looks okay?
No, man. I think right back here England is okay. Yeah, Trent. I mean, Reece is a good player, but Trippier have been having an excellent season. Kyle Walker is always solid, and he's very experienced. And Trent Alexander-Arnold, you know what you get from him attacking-wise, his output that end of the field. So right back, they're fine, but left back for me is that's where the problem lies because it's
not a Luke Shaw fan.
It's Luke Shaw and what. Personally, I would have put Trippier at left back and
have Trent at right back for today.
Well, no, not in a back four. I don't know Walker's fitness level. Yeah. I would have started Walker at right back and had Trippier at left back. But yeah, I just left back is a real problem because no Chilwell, there's nobody else. There's nobody else but Shaw.
Yeah, there is that dearth of options there at left back coming back from previous years where England were stacked with the Ashley Coles and companies of this world. A few more comments just to get you all engaged. Alex Taylor says, Tammy Abraham has scored 3 goals in 15 matches. That form won't even get you in the Nations League squad, much less World Cup. Rashid Hall said, if England doesn't win impressively today, the pressure will be on. The pressure will always be on England, you know. Alexi da Costa, after Kane, Foden is the best player in the country. How does he not start? That's been the question amongst many. And if England do not get the result today, that is the question that will be the first one to be asked at the post-match press conference. Da Costa says, she's right, counter-attacking will be in that right order. He's referring to Joel's comment, which is why I don't think this is a straightforward group. Alexis says, I think Reece James starts over Trippier if he's in the squad. All right. Rashi continues saying, definitely, but they are strong on that side. Marshall is correct. The left-back role is weak. Rashid said, I thought they were supposed to start Trippier at left back. Well, it really going to depend on the back 3, back 5 scenario. So it could be that by the time England transitions to that situation, that it could be Trippier at left back and Luke Shaw gets that rest, and at right back you would have that option for Trent and have Kyle Walker as a third centre half. So we'll just have to see how things pan out. Stephen Football Rule says, looking forward to a proper smash and grab performance from Iran. Yeah, that's a concern, because that is something that they've done in recent years, and that is a massive concern. We have a few more minutes on our discussion before we turn over to the Khalifa Stadium in Qatar, but we haven't had a chance as yet, ladies and gentlemen, to talk a little bit about the Dutch and also the Senegalese outfit. You know, Joel, this was very build up to the Sadio Mane versus Virgil van Dijk show, but unfortunately no Mane, and that has spoiled things.
That's injury.
Yeah.
It's, as I said, with the teams, you know, we're going to miss people. Injuries are going to happen, and it's really about how they come back from it as a team. That matchup is going to be very interesting, because that's really going to set up the rest of that group for sure. We've already seen that first game with Qatar and Ecuador, and this is going to be what most would say would have been like a top of the table clash. These would be the two people to try and fight out. So this is going to be a very important game to start off.
Marshall, your thoughts as well? You know, I'm sure there was excitement building, but could this really hamper Senegalese hopes? Because many people view them as Africa's chance to get to the round of 16 of a World Cup. Senegal is the best chance. Yeah,
man. It's definitely a huge miss for them. I think he carries the team offensively. And obviously he's a talisman, so it's gonna be a lot of psychological pressure on the others to pick up and to try and bring the team to the level that he would have them at. So it's gonna be hard. They're going against a team that knows what they're doing. LVG is LVG. The Dutch know what they're doing and what they're going to do, what they need to do. So it's gonna be very, very tough. Senegal won't have that extra that Mane brings, that little difference that he brings. So yeah, we'll see how they do.
Yeah, I see the comments coming in, and just a reminder that there is a poll as well. You guys thought, should Foden have started over Mount? You can get your thoughts there. I see Stefan, I see your comment, but we'll get into that quite shortly. But my erudite producer has asked me to ask you guys your thoughts about the Netherlands as well. Jamal Tucker's asked, are they contenders for you guys as well, starting with Joel for the tournament?
I definitely see them coming out of I'm definitely seeing them coming out of I'm going to put it out there that they're coming out of the group.
Okay.
Long-term content. Again, a lot of it has to do with how their style of play and how they're going to play. And I think they get out of the group and they're going to be playing one of our
Group E.
groups. So it's going to be a very interesting based on that matchup how far they go. So I definitely see them coming out. I'm not sure if they're going to get to the 8. To the
quarterfinals.
To the quarters. I see the round of 16, but depending on who that matchup is, it could be it for them. It also could be it for the other team.
Marshall, it's interesting. It could be the Dutch versus England, depending on who finishes first or second.
Yeah, man. I mean, I'm a Dutch fan. I grew up as that. 4-3-3, the House of Venus, St. Michel's, and Johan Cruyff.
Total football.
Total football. Yeah. So I think at least the quarterfinals, I have Denmark and Holland as my dark horses. Outside of the three that I think we all have settled on as the main contenders, Brazil, Argentina, France. So I have Holland in the group right behind that. So yeah, I'm expecting good things. I'm expecting Frankie to put on a show. The only thing is Memphis's injury status. He does a lot of heavy lifting in the final third. But Gakpo is on form. Berghuis is on form. So we'll see.
Yeah, and just a tidbit on the Dutch team. 8 players in their roster were actually born to parents or grandparents from the Caribbean. A majority of them Curacao, Aruba, and the only player in their squad with some Jamaican heritage is Kenneth Taylor. That's the only player. We'll see if he'll be able to get the nod today. Maybe, maybe not. But the other players in their squad, Surinamese heritage, Curaçaoan, and Aruban. I mean, Joel, we talked about a little bit about the Dutch as well. You said perhaps the last 16, as we have a few minutes to wrap up things. Let me just get a few comments in first. Andrew Johnson says, Southgate has always had an issue picking England's best 11. Seems like he's still having that issue. We can't expect Kane to score all the goals this year. Simon looking nervous. He's sitting on the fence and hasn't given us his view on England. I'll be straightforward. I think it's going to be a very, very tight game. I think it'll be a set piece to win it. I've gone with England 1, Iran 0, and I think Harry Maguire, I'll go with him. Redemption for him based on the form. So that's basically the team that I'm in. And also there's another comment as well in the another poll as well. Will the Dutch make it far in the tournament? So go ahead and vote in the comments. Will the Dutch make it far in the tournament? So go ahead and vote on that. Alexa da Costa says, where's Azmoun, by the way? He's on the bench for this game. Alexis says, I'd bench Saka, by the way. Okay. Simon's reaction when Michelle didn't list England in the 3 contenders. Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, but it's interesting, Michelle, you made the point, and I'm coming to you, Joel, as well, because Michelle made the point about France being the favorite, but with no Kante, Pogba, and of course Benzema, is France a contender still for you, or they've lost a little bit of dent in that's firepower?
They've lost a little bit, but it can't take away from the rest of the squad. I mean, you still have Mbappe, you still have all these players that are out there, and as I keep saying, it can't be about a name. It's not really about a person. I always say that. I stress it because when we get to Brazil, it's Neymar's Brazil. You get to Portugal, and they've been talking about Ronaldo, and they're out. Just like we mentioned with USA, like you're going to change over, they're getting old. So it's going to be a very interesting thing. Pogba was a sad loss, but they have depth, and again, even this World Cup with 5 changes, like you have that depth, you have that squad. Even it's gonna be, we'll see how they go.
Yeah, indeed. We'll wrap up quite shortly, but Masha, let me start with you. The 3 matches for the day: England versus Iran, the Netherlands against Senegal, and of course the USA against Wales. Your thoughts about these 3 games? Your predictions? Any draws from these 3 games, or any blowouts?
Yeah, I think US Wales is a draw. Score draw 1-1, 2-2.
Okay. The Dutch against Senegal.
Yeah. I think the Dutch should beat Senegal. The Manila Senegal, and
it's okay. It's okay.
Simon,
be realistic. Yeah, it's fine. If you say nil, I'll draw.
I'm going for a little smash and grab here.
Really?
Well. Yeah.
Wow.
I'm going for a little smash and grab here for Tarami to get one, and Kira sits on it.
Looks like Jev will have to be here at 4 o'clock to host the discussion. Joel, your thoughts?
For USA Wales.
USA Wales, right?
I am seeing a Wales win, just based on a style right here.
Okay.
Senegal, Netherlands. I'm really sorry, but I'm just hoping that there's a breakout star in Senegal. And for England, Iran, granted Harry Maguire keeps that defense there, I see England winning, but from a set piece.
I'm just trying to be contrarian, I gotta give Simon something to fret about.
Always.
That's fine. Really, really appreciate it. I've gone with England 1, Iran 0, Senegal 0, the Netherlands 2, and the United States 2, Wales 2. Just a few more comments before we wrap up. Ray Stewart says Southgate is too defensive. that strength of the English team, it will not work this World Cup. All Sports Jamaica says Kante will be missed. He was the X factor in 2018. Well, the French, they don't get into action just yet.
Chouameni is a baller. Chouameni is a baller. So, yeah.
Yeah. All right. Machel and Joel, thank you very much for your time. At this point in time, we blow the full-time whistle on our discussion as it relates to now streaming Qatar. Thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in to our live stream. Join us again at 4 o'clock where we'll have our post-game show and we'll recap the 3 games taking place today and also look ahead to the 4 big matches that lie ahead on Tuesday. On behalf of our entire production team, our panelists this morning, thank you so much. Bye-bye for now.
Eight 7 6 stream. Bless up.